Imagine waking up in a world where the ground is frozen. The air hurts when you breathe. There is no warm room, no winter jacket, no electricity, no supermarket. Just snow, darkness, and a temperature dropping lower every hour.
Your food is running out. Your fingers are going numb. And somewhere outside, predators are moving through the darkness. Then you look at your fire. It's dying. For us, this sounds like a nightmare. For ancient humans, this could have been an ordinary night. So how did they survive a world that seemed determined to kill them? The answer is surprising. They didn't defeat the cold. They learned how to live with it. Their first problem was simple: staying alive until morning. Cold air could steal body heat incredibly fast, so humans searched for caves, rock shelters, and protected spaces where the landscape could block the wind. But shelter alone wasn't enough. They needed fire. Fire gave them something the frozen world couldn't: warmth. It provided light during darkness, allowed them to cook food, and gave the group a place to gather when the temperature outside became dangerous. But fire had a weakness. It could die. So fuel became precious. Wood and other burnable materials had to be collected before the cold became unbearable. Because once darkness arrived, going outside could mean risking your life. Then came the next problem: food. The frozen landscape didn't provide easy meals. There were no farms nearby, no stored food, no shops. Ancient humans had to find animals. They followed footprints through the snow. A track could tell them where an animal had gone. Broken branches could reveal its direction. But hunting was a gamble. If they spent hours following an animal and failed, they didn't just lose dinner. They lost valuable energy their bodies needed to survive the cold. So humans became experts at reading the landscape. They learned animal routes. They recognized seasonal movements. They discovered where animals gathered and when they were most likely to appear. The frozen world became a giant puzzle, and humans learned how to read it. But even after a successful hunt, survival wasn't over. The animal could provide more than food. Meat provided energy. Fat provided valuable calories. Bones could become tools. And the hide could become something incredibly important: clothing. Humans didn't have the thick fur of many cold-weather animals, so they created their own protection. Animal skins could be layered around the body, helping trap warm air and slow the loss of body heat. But staying dry was just as important. Wet clothing in extreme cold could become dangerous. Every detail mattered: where they slept, where they built the fire, what they wore, what they ate, and when they moved. But perhaps their greatest advantage wasn't fire, clothing, or weapons. It was each other. One person could only do so much. A group could divide the work. Some hunted. Others gathered fuel. Someone maintained the fire. Others prepared food and cared for the young. And most importantly, they shared knowledge. One generation learned something. The next remembered it. Then the next improved it. A better shelter, a better hunting strategy, a better way to stay warm. Over thousands of years, these small improvements became a survival system. But the frozen world was constantly changing. Animals migrated. Seasons shifted. Resources disappeared. A place that was perfect for survival one year could become useless later. So humans moved. They followed herds. They searched for water. They crossed unfamiliar landscapes. And they did it without maps or GPS. They used rivers, mountains, the sun, animal trails, and memories passed down by their people. Every journey was dangerous, but staying in the wrong place could be even more dangerous.
And this is what makes their survival so remarkable. Ancient humans weren't the strongest animals in the frozen world. They weren't the fastest. They didn't have the thickest fur. They survived because they could adapt. They turned fire into warmth, animal hides into protection, the landscape into a map, and shared knowledge into survival. Generation after generation, the cold kept testing them, and humans kept learning. Until eventually, the frozen world wasn't simply a place they feared. It was a place they knew how to live in. So how did ancient humans survive the frozen world? Not because they were stronger than the cold. They survived because they were smarter together. They learned, they adapted, they remembered, and they passed that knowledge forward. Thousands of years later, we have heaters, insulated homes, supermarkets, electricity, and technology protecting us from the same cold that once threatened our ancestors. But beneath all that technology is the same ability that kept humanity alive. When the world becomes hostile, we adapt. And perhaps that is why humans survived the frozen world. Not because we were built for it, but because we learned how to survive what wasn't.